Rachel Zegler's fairy tale has turned into a nightmare. After Disney's Snow White remake crashed at the box office, the star is reportedly desperate, scrambling for cash to save her career. From Hollywood darling to industry outcast, how did it all go so wrong? Dive into the shocking drama behind Zegler's fall and the whispers of her begging for a lifeline. It's April 2025, and Rachel Zegler, once hailed as Hollywood's next big thing, is at the center of a career meltdown. Disney's live-action Snow White, released on March 21, 2025, was supposed to be her crowning moment. Instead, it's become a $115 million disaster, one of the biggest box office flops in Disney's history. The 23-year-old actress who played the iconic princess is now facing intense backlash, with rumors swirling that she's begging for financial help to stay afloat. But is this true, or is it another twist in the culture war engulfing her? Let's unpack the chaos that's turned Zegler's dream role into a waking nightmare. Snow White was a high-stakes gamble for Disney. With a reported budget of $270 million, plus $140 million in marketing, the film was one of the studio's most expensive live-action remakes. Starring Zegler as Snow White and Gal Gadot as the evil queen, it aimed to reimagine the 1937 classic for a modern audience. But from the start, the project was mired in controversy. Casting Zegler, a Latina actress, as a character traditionally depicted as white as snow, sparked debate. Her 2021 comments calling the original film not feminist enough and dismissing its love story as weird, alienated fans of the classic. Add to that her outspoken political posts, and the film became a lightning rod for criticism. The box office numbers tell a grim story. Snow White opened to a dismal $43 million domestically, far below the projected $85 million. By its fourth weekend, it had grossed just $69 million in the US and $149 million worldwide, nowhere near the $625 million needed to break even. Critics panned it, with a 40% Rotten Tomatoes score and a shocking 1.610 on IMDb, fueled by review bombing campaigns. Screen Rant called the CGI dwarfs artificial and the ending anticlimactic. The film's failure was so catastrophic that Disney paused its planned live-action Tangled remake, signaling a crisis for the studio's remake strategy. Zegler has taken the brunt of the blame. Her pre-release comments, like criticizing the original Snow White's prince as a stalker, rubbed many the wrong way. Her political posts added fuel to the fire. In August 2024, after the trailer dropped, she tweeted, "Free Palestine," a stance that clashed with co-star Gal Gadot's pro-Israel views. Reports suggest producer Mark Platt flew to New York to urge Zegler to tone down her social media, but she doubled down, posting "Few on Donald Trump" after his 2024 election win. These moves polarized audiences, with boycotts from both pro-Palestine and pro-Israel groups hurting ticket sales. Rumors of Zegler begging for money stem from unverified X posts claiming she's in financial distress. One user, @BackstreetLamb, posted on April 18, 2025, alleging Disney is demanding compensation from Zegler for the film's losses, warning of bankruptcy if she doesn't pay. Others, like Lenny Boy USA and Sirius 1706, claim she was fired by her agent and Maybelline, losing a $10 million deal, and blacklisted in Hollywood. These claims lack credible evidence, but they've spread like wildfire, amplifying the narrative of Zegler's downfall. Let's step back. Zegler's rise was meteoric. Born in New Jersey to a Colombian mother and Polish father, she broke out as Maria in Steven Spielberg's 2021 West Side Story. Her performance earned raves, and at 20, she was cast as Snow White, beating out thousands. By 2023, she'd starred in The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, solidifying her as a musical talent. But Snow White was her biggest test, and the stakes were sky high. Disney bet on her star power, but the film's troubles began long before she stepped on set. The production was a mess. Set photos leaked in 2022, revealing CGI dwarfs after actor Peter Dinklage criticized the use of dwarf actors as backward. The decision sparked backlash from both disability advocates and fans who wanted authenticity. A 2023 set fire delayed filming, and the release was pushed from 2024 to 2025. Zegler's comments at the 2022 D23 Expo, where she said the remake focused on Snow White as a leader rather than a romantic, didn't help. Many saw it as disrespecting Disney's legacy, especially since the 1937 film was the studio's first animated feature. Then there's the rumored feud with Godot. Their differing views on the Israel-Palestine conflict reportedly caused tension. At the 2025 Oscars, they presented an award together, but barely interacted. Godot promoted the film solo at Disneyland, while Zegler was absent. Sources told people they had nothing in common. And Godot received death threats after Zegler's Free Palestine post. The clash turned Snow White into a culture war battleground, with boycotts and online vitriol drowning out the Uri. Film's message: public sentiment is brutal. X posts paint Zegler as a villain, with RDC Drano calling her kryptonite to studios, and a Colin Rugg blaming her for the $115 million loss. Some, like Mr. Nobody, mocked her claim that audiences would still see her films, pointing to Snow White's $16 million opening weekend against its $270 million budget. The hashtag Our Zegler Flop trended, with memes comparing her to box office poison. Yet defenders argue she's a scapegoat. A TikTok user wrote, "Rachel Zegler's getting a hate campaign for nothing," and Jamila Jamil backed her on Instagram, questioning Hollywood's fear of outspoken women. Is Zegler really begging for money? There's no hard evidence. Her net worth, estimated at $3 million from West Side Story, Hunger Games, and endorsements, suggests she's not broke. She's also booked for a role in Andrew Lloyd Webber's Evita on Broadway in July 2025, and scored a coveted invite to the 2025 Met Gala, hardly signs of desperation. The bankruptcy and fired rumors seem to stem from exaggerated X posts, possibly fueled by anti-Zegler sentiment. Still, the Snow White fallout has hurt her. Maybelline hasn't confirmed dropping her, but brand deals are likely on hold as studios reassess her marketability. Disney's role can't be ignored. The studio mishandled the film from the start. Casting a Latina actress was bold but poorly defended against racist backlash. The CGI dwarfs alienated fans, and the woke label, amplified by Zegler's feminist framing, turned off traditionalists. Industry analyst David A. Gross told Cinema Blend that mixed reviews, not just wokeness, sank the film. Critics like Kyle Smith and Christian Toto called it a perfect storm of bad press and mediocre quality. Disney's failure to coach. Zegler, on her press tour, as noted by podcast host Zach Peter, left her exposed to controversy. The studio's now bracing for a $115 million loss, and Zegler's the easy target. Zegler's defenders argue she's a victim of Hollywood's double standards. Collider noted that Disney's live-action remakes, like The Little Mermaid and Mufasa, have been underperforming for years, yet Zegler's singled out. Her casting drew racist trolls from day one, with some fixating on her skin tone despite the Brothers Grimm tale never specifying ethnicity. Her pro-Palestine stance, while divisive, reflects her consistent activism since 2021, yet it's been weaponized to paint her as unprofessional. Glamour UK asked, "Why is Hollywood so afraid of women who speak their minds?" pointing to stars like Jamila Jamil rallying behind her. The film's environmental impact added another layer. A report revealed Snow White's production generated 4,258 tons of CO2, one of Disney's highest carbon footprints. This clashed with the film's eco-friendly messaging, drawing criticism from green activists. The Mirror US noted it as another blow to the film's reputation, piling on Zegler's already heavy burden. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan suggested on his podcast that the $250 million budget was mismanaged, urging an investigation into Disney's spending, rather than blaming Zegler alone. Zegler's career isn't over, but it's at a crossroads. Snow White is her fourth box office flop, following West Side Story, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and Hunger Games, though the latter was a relative success. Screen Rant praised her singing and presence, arguing she shines in musicals and should pursue projects like Gypsy or Spring Awakening. Her Broadway stint in Romeo plus Juliet in 2024 earned strong reviews, and Evita could be a comeback. But Hollywood's wary. Mark Platt's son Jonah publicly called her narcissistic for dragging politics into promotion, a sentiment echoed by some execs. Studios may hesitate to bet big on her again, especially after Snow White's $410 million price tag. Culture war around Zegler reflects broader tensions. The Nation called Snow White a casualty of Hollywood's polarization, with Zegler and Godot's political divide symbolizing the industry's fault lines. Her Latina casting and feminist take were progressive moves, but poor execution and Disney's flip-flopping on the dwarfs fueled backlash. Teen Vogue outlined the controversy timeline from set fires to Zegler's Oscar snub in 2022, painting a cursed production. Yet, some fans on X argue she's a trailblazer, with one writing, "Rachel's taking hits for being authentic. She'll rise again." Disney's next steps are unclear. The studio's live-action slate, including Lilo and Stitch in May 2025 and Moana in 2026, faces scrutiny after Snow White's flop. Zegler's future projects are sparse, but her Met Gala invite suggests she still has elite support. Anna Wintour's backing is a lifeline, and mingling with A-listers like Zendaya could open doors. Still, the begging for money narrative persists, driven by X posts that thrive on her downfall. Without confirmed losses or firings, it's likely overblown, but the damage to her reputation is real. Zegler's response has been measured. Post-release, she shared behind-the-scenes Snow White photos on Instagram, focusing on the craft rather than the noise. Her team reportedly hired a social media professional to vet posts, a sign she's adapting. But the hate campaign, as some call it, hasn't stopped. BBC and Teen Vogue frame her as a victim of misogyny and racism, while detractors on X, like Ollie London TV, cite her woke stance as the film's death knell. The truth likely lies in the middle. Ziegler's outspokenness amplified a troubled production's flaws, but Disney's missteps and a polarized audience sealed its fate. What's next? Zegler's Evita role could redeem her, showcasing her vocal talent in a less controversial setting. But Hollywood's memory is long, and the Snow White scar will linger. Disney's pause on Tangled suggests a pivot, possibly away from Zegler-esque casting or progressive remakes. The studio's stock dipped after the flop, and execs are under pressure to rethink their formula. Zegler, meanwhile, faces a choice: lean into her activist persona or pivot to safer roles. Her youth and talent give her time, but the industry's patience is thin. The monarchy of Hollywood is unforgiving, and Zegler's crown is slipping. Was she set up to fail, or did she dig her own grave? The whispers of her begging for cash may be fiction, but the stakes are real. As she steps onto the Met Gala red carpet, all eyes will be on her next move. But wait, rumors are swirling of a secret project that could flip the script. Is Zegler plotting a comeback? Or is Disney pulling strings to bury her for good? The fairy tale's not over yet.